Have you ever walked away from an argument and thought, "Ugh, why did that escalate so fast?" Or maybe you've noticed the same fight playing out in different relationships, like with your partner or your mom or even your coworkers. It's like you're stuck in a rigid script, reacting instead of responding. Hi, my name's Kim. I am a classical East Asian medical provider and a Taoist practitioner. Today, I'm diving into why conflict feels so sticky and how ancient wisdom from Taoism and the art of war can help you break free, because conflict isn't the problem. It's how we do conflict. You can't bring snacks to the party that you don't have in your pantry, right? Well, the same goes with your emotional energy. You can only bring the emotional energy that you're carrying. You can't offer peace if you're filled with resentment, and you can't bring joy if you're living in quiet despair. Whether you realize it or not, you're creating a whole vibe that either draws certain people in or pushes them away, and you become your own emotional black hole, which is a star trapped under the weight of unprocessed stuff, and you start to collapse into yourself. And just like a real black hole, nothing gets out, not even your light. So how do you start seeing the situation for what it really is instead of what pain has made it out to be? The truth is, most relationship conflicts aren't even real. I mean, not real in the way you and I think it is. They're stories that have been created in our minds, stories shaped by old wounds that have never fully healed. And I really like how Sadhguru explains it as a computer program, because these stories are the initial programs that were coded into your psyche during like the first 6 to 8 years of life. And they set the foundation for your resilience and flexibility in all your relationships. And for those stories that created wounds, well, yeah, they're real. They hurt. They fester like infections left untreated, quietly poisoning how you show up in every connection you have. These wounds, they shape how you see yourself, often in ways that keep you small, and you don't even realize that you've built a cage around yourself, a cage made up of fear, of silence, and of unspoken stories. And the saddest part, your dreams dissolve under the weight of the cage built. So here you build your own cage, and then you go out looking for gatekeepers to help keep you locked inside. That's the black hole effect. The sucking in of all this negative energy that passes by your event horizon. You choose relationships that feel familiar, even when they're unhealthy, because it's too scary to do unfamiliar. So, okay, what happens if you fail? Yeah, okay, that's too uncomfortable. You take jobs, you say yes to bosses, you stay in dynamics that echo your past, because deep down it feels safer to repeat what you know than to risk the potential for more pain or more humiliation or loss of what little you have, right? Which brings me to a quote I love. If you want to change the world, change yourself. You can't transform the world by trying to fix everyone around you, but you can shift your entire experience by going inward. Because here's the hard truth. If you're living with deep sadness or depression, you may start to attract others in the same frequency. And not because you're bad or broken, but because there's a part of you still feeding off that familiarity. There's a kind of martyrdom there. It's a silent sacrifice of your soul that aligns with what you've heard from society, which is to stay small, stay quiet, stay safe. But that's not where your light lives, and that's definitely not where your power is. So what does all this mean when it comes to conflict? It means that many of us are walking around with some kind of energetic vortex, some kind of gravitational pull that we don't even realize we've created. That's the black hole. Invisible, powerful, all-consuming. Everything, consuming everything in its orbit. And once you're inside, there's absolutely no way out unless you find a way to shift the laws of your own inner universe, which you can do. Okay, here's a metaphor that hits home. You are that star. And somewhere along the way, under the weight of pain, pressure, and all these unprocessed emotions, you begin to collapse. Not because you're weak or bad, but because you were carrying too much for too long. And here's the truth. You're still here. The core of you hasn't disappeared. The question becomes, how do you escape the black hole you've created? How do you stop pulling in more chaos, more conflict, and more debris? I love Sun Tzu's Art of War, and Sun Tzu's Art of War, Chapter 7, offers a playbook to break free from our old programming. So conflict isn't always loud or visible. Sometimes it's that quiet struggle inside, that battle between who you are and who you're told to be. So Sun Tzu's Art of War, especially in Chapter 7, speaks directly to that inner battleground with the 7 struggles of armies. I'm going to share with you 2 of the 7 struggles. And if you want a list and an explanation of each of the 7 struggles, DM me 7 struggles on Instagram at Mighty Health for You. And maybe even before you do this, start with that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise from the episode Taming Chaos. Do that to help you get present. So the first step is to unite your army. And in conflict, your army is what you can control or direct. And when it comes to personal conflict, it's going to be your emotions, your nervous systems, desires, inner voices, all of that stuff that's going on inside of you. And there's a lot of stories going on inside. You might get one story under control and then another story immediately pops up to take its place, washing you under another tidal wave of fear, dread, defensiveness, anxiety, self-criticism, sadness, remorse, grief, panic, whatever. And each one of these emotions will trigger a different response. So conflict begins when you misunderstand your needs, emotions, and patterns. Interesting, huh? Conflict is not about misunderstanding the opponent. It's about misunderstanding yourself and letting that misunderstanding create confusion and chaos in your inner world. Remember my cats, Bunny and Georgie, from the episode, How to Handle Conflict Like a Boss? Georgie always needs space and Bunny always needs reassurance. So ask yourself, what do you need in this moment? Do you need space? Do you need connection? Own your emotions. They're your army. Until your inner voices become accepted and acknowledged by you, they will never be quiet or united during conflict. And then conflict will leave you in confusion. Another one of the struggles is to know the terrain. And this is about deep self-awareness. So know your patterns, know your triggers, know what kind of emotional terrain you're walking through. And without this map, you'll keep fighting the same battle, but it'll just show up in different disguises. This year is the year of the wood snake, and energetically, your relationships will keep coming to the surface. I'm looking at Sun Tzu's Art of War because conflict is the light to your inner stories and relationships. Next year, growth will focus on inner awareness, and I'll look to the Tao Te Ching to help light up insights to accepting yourselves and helping you walk into the world again. One way of helping to understand and release the attachments to this inner terrain is through Taoist-based classical East Asian medicine. Here we use the body to help find alternative perspectives. The needles, the herbs, the oils, the rocks, the astrology, the I Ching, the feng shui, they all help bring your patterns into the light. And that insight can become the gateway out of your emotional event horizon. These are a couple of the 7 struggles of your armies. If you want your own personal copy of the 7 struggles blueprint, DM me 7 struggles on Instagram at Mighty Health for You. You were never meant to live in the wreckage of your collapse. Stars don't mourn their own light. They become something new. Nebulas, supernovas, maybe even black holes that learn to emit instead of absorb. So this week's challenge, pick one conflict in your life and ask, is this real or is it my past wearing a disguise? And then, like water, choose the path of least resistance. As Sun Tzu says, the greatest victory is a battle you never had to fight. If you want a copy of these 7 tenets, DM me 7 struggles on Instagram at Mighty Health for You. And if you're looking to becoming part of a community that is growing, check out my members only area, HealthHUB. There should be a link up here or in the video description below. And until next time, I'll catch you on the other side.